Right, this is it. This is my last attempt today. Jesus Christ. Technical problems are absolutely horrendous today. For some reason, nothing's working. Fucking stream keeps crashing all the time. So I'm really sorry about that. The stream keeps crashing. The streaming software keeps crashing. StreamYard keeps going tits up every time. So sorry about that. I'm not going to stay for too much longer. Jesus, I've absolutely bollocksed it up today, but it is what it is. Sorry about that. StreamYard is just playing up today. I have no idea what is going on with my PC. Everything just seems to be going wrong today. What we were actually supposed to be doing, right? I'm just going back into my thingy-majiggy here. What we were supposed to be doing was random questions until everything went tits up. Let's see if this actually works. Hold on. Let's see if we can continue. If not, then it's so cool. Jesus, sorry about that. Absolutely horrendous. Really bad. StreamYard absolutely taking the piss. So somebody asked me, like I said before, we were talking about fights that we wanted to see the next year. We spoke about Tank and Lomachenko. We spoke about that. We spoke about Wilder and AJ, which is never going to happen. We spoke about White versus Wilder. There's some other things as well that we spoke about as well. So we were talking there about fights, weren't we, that we wanted to see next year. And someone was asking about Christmas food as well, which we can talk about in a bit as well. But I'm really sorry about that. The streams have just absolutely gone tits up. I don't know why that's happening at all. Absolutely tits up the streams have gone. This guy, oh my God. Tommy is not a talented boxer. He will probably lose. Do you mean lose to Jake Paul? He might lose to Jake Paul. That's part of boxing. That's part of life. Some people win and some people lose. It is what it is. But I would say now, honestly, I'd expect Tommy Fury, I believe, will put up a lot better fight than Tyron Woodley, by far. Trained boxer isn't going to do... Trained boxer ain't gonna try and block a body punch the way Tyron Woodley tries to block a body punch. That was fucking bizarre. You know my opinions on that. You've seen it in the previous stream. That's not something that's taught in the boxing gym at all. So, like I said before, what we need to see now is Jake Paul in the ring with actual fucking boxers. No more MMA fighters. We need to see Jake Paul in the ring with actual effing boxers. Somebody asked about Christmas food as well. Oh, and we were also talking about, let me see if I can get this working one more time. We're also talking about Conor flipping Ben as well, being ranked number 9 by Ring Magazine. Boxing Hype says Tyrone's soul left his body. It was a bad knockout. It was a really, really bad knockout. It was a really bad knockout. And like I said, credit to Jake Paul for it, but it is what it is, isn't it? So I'm just checking the stream's actually fucking working, because we've had some. It's been a really, really bad day for streaming today. What was it? Somebody was asking about Christmas food. Somebody was asking about Christmas food. Who was asking about Christmas food this year? Oh, fuck off. Chris Eubank Jr. versus Jake opinions. Yeah, I think Chris Eubank Jr. would end Jake Paul's career. Oh, my God. Come on, man. You should know that. Chris Eubank Jr. would end Jake Paul's career. Beat him to a pulp. Easy work. Are you serious? Easy work. Chris Eubank Jr. would run through Jake Paul. But it is what it is. It is what it is. Like I said before, the guy's only had 5 fights. But I think Tommy Fury's the favourite going into the fight. But the problem is getting these scorecards, like you can see here, look. These scorecards are so dodgy. The sport of boxing is so corrupt, right? And these scorecards are just so, they're so laughable. Once I'm trying to get them up on the fucking screen. Here we go. These scorecards are so laughable that realistically, even if Tommy did win the fight, would he actually win the fight? Because these scorecards that you can see here tell me that even if Tommy outpoints Jake Paul, or even if Tommy, gives him a boxing lesson, right? These cards tell me that he ain't going to get the decision. That's what these guys tell me, innit? Do you know what I mean? People ask me, Ultra, what would you like to see in boxing next year? Do you know what I'd like to see more than fights? I'd like to see proper judging. That's what I'd really like to see in boxing. Proper judging and proper refereeing. Because some of the judging and the refereeing we've seen, there was a matchroom fight over the weekend where somebody said, that's right, I haven't seen the fight, but Israel Madrimov and Michelle Soro. Somebody said that the referee allowed Madrimov to hit Michelle Soro with about 7 unanswered punches, and how that ended the fight. Now, it's funny. I haven't heard anybody slagging off Eddie Hearn for that. Because last week, when the same thing happened between Hamza Shiraz and Bradley Skeet, everybody was criticising Frank Warren. Ex-boxers coming all over the place criticising Frank Warren for bad refereeing. Same funny, the same thing happened on the matchroom card last night or last week between Soro and Madrimov, and nobody seems to bat a fucking eyelid. Funny how that works, isn't it? Yeah? Not that there's a lot of hypocrisy going on or anything like that. It is what it is. If you're just joining us, I'm really sorry. The fucking stream has gone tits up. The streaming software keeps crashing for some reason. So we're giving it one last go here, and we'll see how far we can take it. 25 people in the room. Please hit the like button. If you're not subscribed, consider subscribing. It's free. We don't charge you anything. But if you can hit the like button, that would be absolutely fantastic, given that this is the third attempt that we're doing at some form of fucking stream tonight. It's been bloody awful. Random questions is what we're talking about. If anybody wants to ask any questions related to boxing, related to Christmas or anything, people are asking questions about Christmas food. I'll be honest with you, my Christmas food is fucked. My Christmas food-wise is fucked. It is absolutely fucked because... why is it fucked? It's because the government are going to go into... because the government are going to start calling for restrictions, right? Because we're basically going to be restricted. And everybody knows that we're heading towards a lockdown, right? Now it's basically turned out that I can't get really any sort of online deliveries. So I can't get any online deliveries at the minute. And I'm not really keen on going into the supermarket in a big rush with this new variant bopping around in a minute. So I'm not really keen on sort of just before Christmas, rushing around with in Waitrose or rushing around in M&S in a shop full of 550 people all coughing and breathing over me with this variant about, which is highly transmissible. Okay, so yeah, I'm not too keen on that, and at the same time, there's no fucking deliveries, so it's bad at the minute. My Christmas is absolutely fucked. I was stuck with ordering Sainsbury's food. That's how bad things have got now. I've been forced to do an order from Sainsbury's, and to be honest, Sainsbury's came and delivered today, and the stuff that they ordered, we didn't really get enough food anyway. So long story short, my Christmas is absolutely fucked. Make no mistake about it. Shit food from Sainsbury's, shit food, and not enough food. So we're fucked for Christmas. So it's a merry fucking Christmas. Maybe I'll have to go down to the fucking food bank and get some food, and I'm really, really annoyed about that. So I'll have to try and get off that topic. It's something that I'm not happy about. The situation in this household with Christmas food. I'm absolutely fuming about it. Fuming. But it is what it is, Christmas time, like I said before, look, it is what it is. It's only one day of the year. And, I need to be thankful that I have a roof above my head, because there are some people who might not have a roof above their head for Christmas. There's some people who've got a lot more problems to worry about than me. So we always need to keep some form of perspective. All right. It's always good to keep some form of perspective. There's a lot worse off than me during Christmas. But if you asked me, did I envisage my Christmas? Did I envisage my Christmas as scrapping around online to try and get some food delivered from Sainsbury's before we head into another lockdown? No, that's not what I envisaged for Christmas at all. To be honest, like I said before, I could go to Waitrose, but I don't really want to, because I know what's going to happen. I'll go to Waitrose and I'll get ill. I'll let you know if I change my mind, but I know if I go to Waitrose or M&S, I'll get ill with COVID. I know that for a fact. Before every single Christmas, I get ill. Before every Christmas, I get ill without any exceptions. Every Christmas, I get ill. And so I know if I go to Waitrose or M&S, that's what's going to happen. Let me quickly tell you, one Christmas, I literally went out for Christmas, right? I bought all this food, and I even bought some new bed sheets, because I remember my bed sheets were really fucked up, and I thought, let me buy some new bed sheets, right? I bought all this stuff in town, right? I'm not joking. I came home, I put my key in my door, I opened the door and walked in my room. As soon as I got home from shopping, I felt so ill, and I knew straight away that I was fucked. This was about 10 years ago. 10, 12 years ago. And I knew straight away that all the Christmas food I bought, I wasn't going to eat it. and I was ill with really, really bad flu for about 4 or 5 days. I couldn't even open my eyes. I was lying in bed with fucking muscle pain. Muscle pain. So I couldn't. The flu was so bad, I literally couldn't even open my eyes. It was horrendous, man. And you know, it always happens. So yeah, it's not good. It's not good. Let me just get some decent graphics. You can ask anything you want. It can be boxing. It can be anything. But yeah, I'm not happy. Nadav Drew's asking me about stuff that I don't know anything about. Listen, I'm a software developer who literally knows nothing about development. I think they just hired me because I'm a person of color. I don't know anything about it, Nadav Drew. I swear to God. You know, my skills are so far behind. I work on a legacy app with legacy code. Docker, what's Docker? I haven't used it. Well, I've barely used it. I barely used Docker. I'm clueless. He says, do you deploy your .NET code to any container-based environments, e.g. Docker? Do you code in any JavaScript frameworks like React? No. I've done a little bit of coding on the Node platform. I've done a very, very small piece of coding on the Node platform, and that's pretty much it. Haven't done anything in React, mate. I'm a clown, and you know what it is, mate. I'm actually planning to start really getting into it and start doing some courses because my skills are they're so bad at the minute. I'm an embarrassment to development. But yeah, I've done a little bit of Node, a little bit, very, very bad. We do have some Node projects, and I've done some very, very bare bones basic stuff. Not even coding features really. I think I was just doing some bug fixes in Node. And we have microservices, but I think they're hosted in the cloud. Don't ask me anything about AWS. I don't know nothing about AWS. But I think our services are hosted in the cloud. And I think they're invoked via AWS Lambdas. So I think how it works is we have a client app. It sends an API request. I think how it works with AWS. I've never really worked with AWS. Like I said, I work with legacy shit. I'm a joke. But I think like there's an API call that's made to an API in AWS, which is, what's it called? API Gateway, I think it's called. And then API Gateway invokes like some kind of Lambda function. And I think in Lambda functions, let me know if I'm right. What was it, Nadav? In Lambda functions in AWS, I think you can actually host because you can run Node code in a Lambda. I know that for a fact. Like you can execute Node.js code in an AWS Lambda, and I think you can even pull in Node libraries as well. So like any of your Node libraries, any of your Node modules, you can set up your Lambda to put in those Node modules and those Node libraries and then sort of execute code around that. So as far as I'm aware, that's how it goes. Docker, no. We do have some local development stuff that runs on Docker. Docker's great. And I've hardly used it, but Docker is absolutely brilliant. This is a tool that I should be using every single day of the week, Nadav. Every single day of the week. If you want to spin up like a SQL Server database, or if you want to spin up a web server, or if you want to spin up something, just get a Docker image and spin it up. But mate, I still live in the 1980s. I still live in the 1980s when I'm installing stuff by hand. Is that answer your question, Nadav? Nice one. Thanks for answering. I am a developer, but I'm garbage. I am absolutely fucking garbage. TMG, I can't get into a discussion about the virus for obvious reason, yeah. I can't get into a discussion about viruses, yeah. But what I can tell you is this, right? So what I would say to this is this, because we've only got 30 people in the chat right now. So I can tell you this: lockdown's coming, right? Lockdown is coming imminently. So if I was you, right, don't panic buy. I'm not saying panic buy, yeah, but I'm just saying lockdown is coming, in my opinion. So start thinking about what people are going to panic buy. So people will panic buy. What are they going to panic buy? They're going to panic buy things like paracetamol. They're going to panic buy things like toilet paper. They're going to panic buy things like fucking, So I'm saying, don't panic buy or anything. But what I'm saying is, just think about stuff that people are going to buy and stock up on it, because it is going to get nuts, isn't it? It is. I would imagine we're going to be under some form of lockdown, whether that's actually lockdown or lockdown under another name. I would imagine restrictions will be coming in like in the next week, imminently. absolutely imminently restrictions will be coming in. And when that happens, you can't order any online shopping because everybody stays at home, so you can't order any online shopping. So it's a nightmare. So then you have to, do what I'm going to have to do, and you're going to have to fucking walk into your. I mean, Waitrose is one thing. Heaven forbid for anybody who has to shop in Tesco. Tesco's absolutely disgusting. I would hate to have to go into Tesco near Christmas because I know nobody in there is wearing masks. They're all going to be coughing over each other. But that's a different story. Nadav Drew talks about programming. He says, it's a cool tool, man. You should do some courses over Christmas. Absolutely. I need to. And mate, this is the thing. Real developers are always building up their knowledge. I haven't. I've been so stressed. I've been doing so much stuff. Excuse me. Right now I'm on antibiotics. I'm not even well. So I'm just making excuses, but I really do need to crack on with it. I have, like I said, there's lots of courses that I have available to me. And I actually started looking at an AWS course the other day. And then I do what I do. I looked at it for half an hour, 40 minutes, and I stopped. I need to just crack on with it. But I am beginning to look into AWS. Let's have a look here. Sorry about that. I can talk about anything. Let's go through some of this stuff. Joe says, we had to book Waitrose delivery slots in mid-November, and it was one of the last slots back then. The rush is... It's unbelievable. It is unbelievable. It really is bad. I'm not keen. I'm not very keen on going to the shops, at all. Hold on. Where's that famous picture? Let me see if I can get up a famous picture for you guys. Let me tell you why I'm not too keen on shopping with Tesco. Hold on. This is like last year or a year ago when the government first announced, that lockdown could happen. Hold on. Oh my God. I can't remember. Here we go. This is what happened. This is what happened in Tesco. I'll show you. So this is the last time, This is the first time about a year and a half, 2 years ago, right? When the government said, right, there was a big problem with the very well-known illness that's in the news. And this is how people respond in Tesco. Look. This is what happens when people panic buy. Can you see? Look. Does that look safe? Like, I don't want to sound like a bedwetter, but you get my picture, right? Can you see why I'm not too keen, on Can you see why I'm not too keen? I'm not too keen in being stuck in this. Do you know what I mean? I ain't too keen, around the winter season of being stuck with that. So I'm trying to get away with doing online shopping. James Johnson says, please do not vanish. Oh my God, piss off. What is wrong with these people? Don't put that shit in my comment section. Duncan Harrod, the main man himself, has arrived here. Duncan Harrod, king of the white men. Duncan Harrod's got swag. Shout out to Duncan Harrod. Just come on. Hope y'all good. Do you go big on Christmas decorations? Lights and shit in the house, or are you low key? I am very low key. I don't actually like Christmas. Shevin likes Christmas. I don't like Christmas. I don't give a fuck about Christmas. Do you know we always do house tours and shit on here. We talk about like nice houses, nice flats and stuff, right? And places to go and look at. You should go and see Shevin's place. It's unbelievable, man. Shevin's place is literally better than like any of the places that we see on this. It's unbelievable. Like, seriously. Like, Shevin's place is unbelievable. It's really good, man. Really good. So, yeah. No, I'm not a Christmas person. I'm more of a Grinch. I'm not a Christmas person. But what I like to have is lots of food. And there's not a lot of food in my fridge at the minute. So, it is what it is. I'm trying not to go Ike Turner about it, but I'm not happy. Not a happy bunny at the minute. Random question. Can we see a picture of your Christmas tree? Mrs. is working on ours and is wondering how yours looks. I can Google you a picture. It's a mini Christmas tree. I don't even want it, but hold on. It's a mini Xmas tree. It's mini. It's just a mini one, isn't it? Tiny one. Well, it's a bit bigger than that. It's about something a bit like this, I would imagine. I think. And it's got a few lights around it. That's about it, really. Yeah, I'm not a big Christmas person. But yeah, At all. But that's what it is. Yeah, no big Christmas trees. Do you know what it is as well? With real Christmas trees, they leave fucking pine needles all over the place, don't they? So they're a complete waste of fucking time, in my opinion. Not a big fan of them. And they're fucking nightmare to get rid of at the end of Christmas and all. Not a big fan of, honestly, I'm not a big fan of Christmas, to be honest. By the way, if anybody wants to ask any boxing questions, you're welcome to. But you know, if you want to ask me, Ultra, do you think that Chisora can beat Wilder? Ask me. You know, ask me if you want to know if I think. Do you think that Tyson Fury's scared of Dillian White? Do that. Do you think this man? Look, there's grown men out here that think this man is going to beat Deontay Wilder. Grown men think that this man is going to beat Deontay Wilder. Wow. All right, let's have a look here. Duncan says, my missus goes mental at Christmas. Right. Okay. If I was... okay, right. Okay. She goes mental for Christmas. You just put some lights up. So it looks like you made an effort. Yeah, I'm not a big Christmas fan, to be honest. Like all the lights and shit. Do you know what it is? Do you know what it is for me? Let me just explain to you what my point is, right? So Christmas is fucked because you get all this goodwill to men shit, and when you walk outside and everyone's being nice and people are giving homeless people money, and for one day a year, all of a sudden everybody cares about somebody else. But the thing about Christmas to me is everybody should be like that 24/7. Why is it on some imaginary day? Why is it in some imaginary day in the year that people decide that they're going to start caring about people? Oh, I'm going to start volunteering at the homeless shelter. Well, you should be doing that period, innit? You shouldn't just be waiting till Christmas. Do you know what I'm saying? Oh, but it's Christmas, so I'm going to volunteer down the fucking shelter. And now I'm going to start giving money to the fucking homeless. And now I'm going to start, and it's so annoying. You walk down the street and people are smiling at you and opening doors for you and being really happy. Why? Why can't you be like that 365 days a year? Why are you an absolute dickhead for 364 days of the year? And then for one day a year, all of a sudden you switch up and change and it's goodwill to all men. That's why I don't like Christmas. I think the whole thing is absolutely fake as fuck. That's just my opinion, I think Christmas is fake as fuck, And by the way, all these people, right, that are doing this, big family Christmas, they all hate each other. Let's be real, man. They all fucking hate each other. I've been there. Look at this, all this shit, all this fake shit. I mean, some people have big families and they genuinely love each other, right? But all this BS that you can see here, sitting around the table or having a nice turkey, having a nice meal, it's BS. Half the people hate each other. You think I haven't been through that? When I go to my in-laws for Christmas, yeah, I spend Christmases at my in-laws, right? So they've got me, my missus, my parents-in-law, my brother-in-law. I'm not married, but, I tell you, I'm not married, but I might as well be. And listen, if I do get married, I'm going to get married. I'm not going to do the engagement thing. There's no engagement, and that's part of the agreement I have with my missus. There's no engagement, right? There's just married or not married. There's no engagement ring. There's no fiance. There's none of that stuff. It's married or no married. So if I get married, I'm just gonna get married. Like one day, wake up, let's get married, type thing. So anyway, my in-laws, yeah, I sit around the table. I love my in-laws to bits, right? My father-in-law is a bit of a knob, but he's a good man, yeah. But father-in-law, I love my father-in-law, love my mother-in-law. But we have to sit around our table, right, with my brother-in-law and his wife. Hate them. They're horrible. They're horrible people. And you have to sit around the table with these people and eat dry turkey without any gravy with these people and listen to them moan, whinge, and bitch. And listen to their fucking screaming kids as well. They got screaming kids screaming everywhere, running around everywhere. Christmas is fucking awful, mate. So be just. I'm not trying to be a downer, but a lot of Christmas is fake. Does that make sense? A lot of Christmas is fake. Like you see stuff like this. You see all the photos on Instagram. You see all the photos on Facebook of all these grinning people. Do you know what I mean? Like I said, let me tell you this now, yeah? My brother-in-law's wife, yeah? She posts up all these photos on Facebook of herself, right? Making herself look like the ideal wife. She is one of the laziest women, one of the laziest, most useless wives I've ever seen. She's useless. She doesn't cook. This guy does a full shift at work. He comes home, yeah? he comes home and he comes home, he has to make himself dinner after she stays at home all day. It's bizarre. But like I said, if you looked at them on Facebook, you would think it's a great marriage, but it's an awful, awful marriage in my opinion. Sorry about that. Went off on one. Mark Stanton says, goodwill died for me when fuckers were fighting over multi-packs of toilet rolls. Oh my. Look, do you remember the fuel thing? Hold on. Do you remember when that woman, do you remember a couple of weeks ago? Yeah, here we go. Here's the fuel crisis. Here we go. So we had the fuel crisis in the UK, right? A couple of months ago, right? Where people were panic buying fuel, right? People were panic buying fuel. For what reason, I have no idea, right? So people were panic buying fuel. Now, here's a woman standing at a fuel pump. It's this woman here on the right-hand side. She's literally trying to fill up avian bottles with fuel. She's taking a fuel pump and she's trying to pump fuel into a fucking avian or a Volvic bottle and then trying to put it in the back of her car. Do you understand, like, how stupid the average person is? And you wonder why I don't want to go outside and do my Christmas shopping around these individuals. This woman is pumping fuel into a plastic water bottle and then filling it up and sticking it in the back of her damn car. Unbelievable. Mate, it's a no from me. I don't want to be around these people. They're too dangerous, man. Let's have a look. Nadav says, I'm going to ask a tough one. Why does the whole boxing community, including IFL and Sky, continue to perpetuate the myth of Dean White when there is no Dean White? Why has nobody ever asked him, dude, why are you pretending to be this man's brother? I'll tell you the reason why. And I like Dean White, but it's a very, very valid question, right? It's a very, very valid question, isn't it? These two, Dillian and Dean. You want to talk boxing? Do you want to talk about Dillian and Dean? It's fair. It's fair. Dillian White's whole career, listen, I've got no, people think I like Dillian White. I've got no problem with Dillian White. But I'm just being real. Dillian White's whole career has been a contradiction. Has it not? Am I lying or am I not? You know, there are question marks about Dillian White in his career that are unanswered and need to be answered. And I would say, look, I like Dean White. I've got a lot of time for Dean White. I would love to have Dean White on the show. I think he's brilliant. Seriously, I think he's brilliant. But I would have to ask him, Dean, I like Dean, but I'd have to say, Dean, look, can you see the optics on this? You have changed your name, or you basically have taken up a name, or you are. The problem is he's doing business using the name of somebody else. That's the problem, isn't it? That's the problem. He's doing business under the name Dean White. So to me, like I said, there are question marks there. Are you using Dillian White's name to drum up business and make money for yourself? Are you using Dillian White's name to, promote your own shows and get yourself over an IFL TV, essentially to make yourself money? It's a very, very bizarre situation, isn't it? Does that make sense? Can you imagine if I started calling myself Ultra Joshua and I claimed I was the brother of Anthony Joshua, and I started, getting interviews on IFL TV, and I started promoting myself on IFL TV, and then I even started up my own promotional company on the basis that I'm related to Anthony Joshua, when actually I'm not. It's very dodgy, isn't it? Very, very dodgy situation. But no, nobody asked Dean about that, will they? I don't think he needs to be slagged off for it, but I just think that somebody should ask him in an interview and just say, look, Dean, what is the situation with Dillian? Like, why do you call yourself Dean White? And just ask, look, we don't have a problem with it, but can you understand why you would get criticism over that? Because some people would say, look, you're making money off his name, aren't you? If you called yourself Lamar Scott instead of calling yourself Dean White, would you get as many IFL TV interviews? Would your name be as recognisable. Does that make sense? People say Dean White. Oh, they make that connection. It's bizarre, isn't it? It's a bizarre situation. Personally, me personally, right, and I'm being real, I would not let another man who's not my brother take my name and then walk around telling people that he's my brother. I personally wouldn't do that. But I understand they've got a big friendship going on where they're like brothers. Do you know what I'm saying? Where they're like brothers. I understand that. You know, you two are ride or die. Like he's like your brother. I understand that. But when a dude starts changing his name and then doing business, or changing a name and then drumming up business with that name, I'm not sure. Then for me, the lines start to get blurred. But Dillian knows this, and Dillian's fine with it. So it is what it is. But I would, listen, it's a very, very valid question. Why do the media not ask those questions? To be honest, the best thing for Dean to do is just to answer the question straight up, and then people will stop asking it and just say, look, all Dean has to say is, look, it's none of your fucking business. It's none of your business. Me and Dillian are tight. We've been tight since we were kids, and that's the way we roll. And that's it. And just, but it is bizarre. There are a lot of questions that don't get asked by the media, and we all know why. It's because they're scared to take a punch in the face. Which is fine. I'm scared to take a punch in the face. Well, that's fine. But let's not lie about it. That's the reason, right? The reason they're not asking is because they're scared. Yeah, that's it, isn't it? That's the reason why they're not asking, isn't it? It's because they're shook, innit? I'd be shook as well. But I'm not going to pretend that I'm not asking because of something else, right? I wouldn't ask because I'm scared to get a punch in the face. I think it's bizarre, I think it's bizarre. Let's have a look. When a grown man changes his name to another grown man's name with no blood relation, it's genuinely civil partnership. No, Duncan, I could have got that wrong. Maybe I've got that wrong. Duncan said, that's crazy shit. I had no idea. I reckon Dean gives Dillian a cut of the money. Well, listen, I've got to be careful what I say here. I mean, listen, let me just clarify what I'm saying here, right? What it is for me is, look, yeah, I'm sure he's on his business. His name is Lamar Scott. His name's his real name, right? I'm not saying when he does business, he actually signs contracts with the name Dean White. But what I'm saying is, right, He's built. It seems to me like, okay, so let me say it another way. Right. Give me a one. If this guy called himself Lamar Scott, do you think he'd have as big a profile and would be as recognizable as he was if he called himself Lamar Scott instead of Dean White? Press one if you think that Dean White, press one if you think that Dean White would be as big of a name on IFL TV and be as big of a name as he's in boxing if he called himself Lamar Scott. Oh my God. I've really fucked that up. I'm not with it today. Right. Let me do it another way, right? Let me do it another way. Dean White. If he called himself Lamar Scott, would he be as a bigger name on IFL TV, Boxing Social, and would he be as big a name in the sport of boxing? Yes or no? Very simple. I don't think he would. I don't think he would. And I think that's the reason he calls himself Dean White. Do you know what I mean? That's the reason he calls himself Dean White. Because people hear that name and they immediately associate him with Dillian White. So that's why he does it, innit? There's a reason why he does it, right? No chance, right? So that's what I'm saying. Like, make it clear what I'm saying. I like Dean White. I'm not slagging off Dean White, but somebody asked me the question about why the media don't ask him these questions. The answer is because they're shook. That's the answer. Let's have a look here. Yeah, Games You Love says everybody's scared of Dean face to face. Yeah, and rightly so. Rightly so, because Dean White is about that life. Do you know what I mean? Dean White is about that life. And that's why you don't hear me come on, talking breeze about Dean White. Dean White's about that life. So it is what it is. Yeah, guys, if we could get the likes up, I know, I feel a bit guilty for asking you because I've done a really, really bad job with the streams today. But if you could just throw me a bone and hit the like button, that'd be great because it's been a really, really bad day today. A really bad day. I've actually got really bad heartburn and acid reflux from these antibiotics. So it's not going well. Pray for Ultra, Jesus. Right, yeah. So it is what it is, isn't it? Let's go through some. Like I said, if anybody's got any other random questions, ask them. The whole point of this show is just ask random shit. I want to talk to you guys, and then I want to go and do some development learning. I'm going to get on that AWS stuff. You know, what am I looking at the minute? What I'm looking at what are the basic AWS services that are on offer that people use. So there's a course on that. And what was the one I was looking at? Oh my God, I can't believe I don't know. It's the virtual machine one. God, EC2, spinning up instances of virtual machines in the cloud. Let's go through. So yeah, ask anything. Don't ask me about coronavirus though. Don't ask me about COVID. Don't ask me about anything like that because you'll just get banned. Chris Burns says, I saw Dean White at the show last night and he's a big fucker. He's massive. I'm not going to front it. God, Dean White's this, that, he's not all this. Listen, Dean White is legit. And if anybody has a problem with Dean White, then take it up with Dean White. Simple as that. Let's have a look here. So I'm sure people are asking some random questions. Here we go. This is an interesting question. I can't pronounce your name, but I'm going to try. Ifany. Ifany? God, I'm supposed to be a person of color and I can't even pronounce African names. If Andrew Selby came back, how do you think he would do on a full camp against Sonny Edwards? Man, let me tell you, I haven't seen Andrew Selby in some time, so I have no idea. I can't remember the last time I saw Andrew Selby box. I think he's absolutely top-class fighter, always has been and always will be. When I first got into boxing, I used to watch sparring videos of the Selby brothers. They've got sparring videos all over YouTube, man. They used to, all their videos that they used to do, I think they used to have a gym or a ring in their house in Wales. And they used to film a lot of their sparring sessions, and they're up on YouTube. I used to watch a lot of lots of Lee Selby sparring videos before I got into boxing, just when I first started getting into it. And I love the Selby brothers to bits. And it's so sad what happened, because it just shows you what these boxing fans are. These boxing fans don't give a shit about boxers. If you look at what happened to Lee Selby, Andrew Selby, their mum died of an illness, and they couldn't cope. Andrew couldn't cope, and he lost his mother, and he went into alcoholism. He started drinking non-stop because he didn't know how to get over his mother's death. Now, during that period when Andrew Selby was suffering with the bottle and suffering with depression because his mum died of illness, right? Did anybody ping Andrew Selby on Twitter and say, yeah, Andrew, how you getting on? Anybody ping Andrew Selby and say, yeah, Andrew, we're still thinking of you, how you doing? No. That's what these boxing fans are. They're the lowest of the low. They really are the lowest of the low. I wasn't on social media at that time. If I was, I would have pinged Andrew Selby. And I said, bro, just to say, I hope you're good. I pinged Lee Selby in the past couple of years ago and said, Lee Selby's been through a lot. Because when Lee Selby fought Josh Warrington and got beat, people were slagging him off. And I said, look, this man's been through a very, very bad time. Lost his mum. But these boxing fans don't care, do they? They don't care. All they do is fucking spend all day yapping on about fucking purse bids and stuff. They're weirdos, aren't they? They spend all day yapping on about purse bids and banging on about, get the fans what they want. But let me tell you this before I move on to the next question. None of these boxers have any respect for the fans. They don't. Listen, let me tell you the truth about Twitter right now, quickly, right? Let me tell you the truth. These boxers, they put on an act. They'll come on social media and they'll say stuff like, oh, it's all for the fans. I want to deliver for the fans. I love the fans. They don't love the fans. They fucking hate these dudes. And as soon as the fans aren't around, or as soon as they got their back turned, they slag these guys. They got no respect for these fans. These boxers don't respect. They don't respect guys who don't go in the ring and don't fight, telling them who to fight. They don't respect guys who have never had a fight, telling them who can win a fight, who will beat them, who's ducking and who's not. They've got no respect for these dudes. They only pretend to get money out of these people. So they'll come on TV and they'll go, oh, I'm all about delivering to the fans and I love the fans. But they don't. When they're in the gym behind closed doors, they can't stand these people, man. They can't stand these people. They've got no respect for these people. Because these people don't have any respect for themselves. And that's the truth. That's the truth about boxers. They don't have any respect. They don't have any respect for these guys. Why would you respect somebody who's never ever put gloves on telling you that you're ducking somebody? Why would you respect a bunch of people like that? They don't. But they have to pretend they do to make money, to sell tickets. So they put on these stupid acts. It's an act. Go into a gym behind the closed doors. They got no respect for these dudes. Let's carry on. You guys are saying Dean. Can I say something? Has Lamar Scott actually legally changed his name to Dean White? I wasn't aware of that. I thought he just called himself Dean White. I didn't know that he actually legally... Can somebody confirm that? Did he actually change his name legally to Dean White? Because I wasn't aware of that. I thought it was just an alias that he used. I didn't know he actually changed his name. MS22 says, I met Lee Selby once. He's a properly nice guy. He's a great guy. Really good guy. And like I said, I really want to see the Selby brothers come back and win world titles. They've been through a lot. They have been through a lot. I really do want to see the Selby brothers come back and win world titles. Games You Love says, does Jake Paul versus Floyd do more pay-per-view buys than Spence versus Crawford? Absolutely, I'd imagine so. Not that I give a fuck about pay-per-view buys, but if you ask me the question, I've answered the question. Yes, I would expect so. Adam Hughes says, why do Welsh fighters get promoted so badly? Calzaghe, Cleverly, and the Selbys all should have been bigger names. Well, I disagree on Calzaghe. I think Frank Warren actually promoted Joe Calzaghe to a T. Joe Calzaghe, right, isn't a bigger name because he fought 150 WBO bums. That's the truth about Joe Calzaghe, isn't it? That's the truth. Joe Calzaghe is not a big name, and Joe Calzaghe ain't really, even to this day, like I keep saying, nobody talks about Joe Calzaghe really to this day, right? The reason why, right, that Joe Calzaghe has been largely forgotten about by most casual fans in the sport of boxing, because he was never in any sort of marquee, big name fight with guys in their prime. Just wasn't, was he? Fought Hopkins at the age of 43, and I thought he was very fortunate to get that decision. And he fought Roy Jones at the age of 38, 39. So that's it. People don't care about those fights. And this is what I keep saying. No one cares about resume. People look at, if you want to be remembered, people think about what great fights were you in? And that's what I'm saying. What great fights were you in? And Calzaghe wasn't in any great fights. He wasn't. Lacey. Fair play, he fought Lacey. But he wasn't in any great fights. Do you know, honest to God, 10, 15 years, this is what I'm saying, Carl Froch. I said it before. People still to this day talk about, do you remember when Carl Froch fought George Groves? And there was that controversy down in Manchester. Do you know when Carl Froch fought George Groves down at Wembley? And he sparked him out? Whether you like Carl Froch or not, he was in big fights against guys in their prime. That meant something. That's why when Carl Froch turns up to fights in America, the media go up to him and scramble him. Because, oh, remember Carl Froch? Yeah, he fought Pascal. Yeah, he fought Andre Ward. Well, Joe Calzaghe, just look at him. Look at who he fought. Joe Calzaghe didn't really fight anybody during his prime. Towards the end of his career, he fought a shot Hopkins and he fought a shot Roy Jones. Unfortunately, that's not enough. And I'm just being real. And that's the reason why people can say he's 46-0. He's 46-0. But let's be honest. If Joe Calzaghe walked down the street in London, he wouldn't get mobbed. Come on. Let's be real. Honest. Let's be real. Am I right about that or am I wrong? If Joe Calzaghe walked down the street in London right now, do you think people would be mobbing? Of course not. People don't remember the guy. He's not remembered. Well, what's Joe Calzaghe doing these days? He appears on BT Sport every now and again. He's largely fucking disappeared, isn't he? Joe Calzaghe's pretty much disappeared from the public eye. Am I lying or am I not lying, isn't he? He's disappeared from the public eye. Look at him versus Carl Froch. That's all I'll say. Look at him versus Carl Froch. One of them's 46-0, but one of them's still a factor in today's boxing. And the other one's not. And that's because one of them was actually involved in big fights against guys in their prime and the other one wasn't. Let's have a look. Yeah, Kessler. Who gives a shit about Kessler? Like Kessler's some kind of fucking world beater. Kessler. Oh my God. Mikkel Kessler. Mikkel Kessler's a good boxer, but fuck. I mean, Kessler, come on, man. Kessler. In 20, 30 years' time, no one's going to be talking about Mikkel Kessler. Froch was legit. Froch fought. People can remember Froch fights. Let's have a look. So yeah, I'll be honest with you. Kawasaki brought that on himself because he wouldn't fight nobody. And Frank Warren had to convince him to fight Jeff Lacey as well. Because Kawasaki wanted to pull out of that fight with a hand injury. And Frank Warren had to convince him to take the fight. So, look, I think Frank did a very good job with Kawasaki. This cleverly, what can you do with cleverly? I'm not sure what you can do with cleverly. The Selbys, Lee Selby screwed himself because, to be honest with Lee Selby had a very, very good spot with Matchroom. Matchroom were doing a good job with Lee Selby. He left to go with Al Heyman, and it didn't work out. So, to be honest, Lee Selby kind of screwed himself, didn't he? And he took a gamble, right? And it didn't work, right? That's fine. But Lee Selby's responsible for kind of why he isn't a star. Because, to be honest, if he'd have stayed with Matchroom during that period, he probably would have been a much bigger name. But he didn't, did he? He left, he went to Al Heyman, and it didn't work out, did he? He went to Al Heyman, and it didn't work out. So it was what it was with Lee Selby. And then he didn't, and then he didn't beat Josh Warrington either. So I think a few of those names, if I'm being honest, a few of those names that you mentioned there only have themselves to blame. But let me know if you think I'm wrong about that. So I'm just going through some more of these questions. Random questions. Ask any sort of random questions that you want to ask. I'm still waiting for your answer about did Dean White legally change his name? Did he really legally? Did Lamar Scott legally change his name to Dean White? If that's the case, that is bizarre. I didn't know about that. Sherman asked me, you solidified where you're going to move yet in spring? No. I don't know where I'm going to move. I don't even know if I'm going to be alive in spring. So I don't have a clue at the minute, mate. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what's going on. I'm not sure what's going on right now. Let's have a look quickly. I ain't sure what's going on in the spring. Let's see what they got. Have a look at London for jokes. Not that I, but let's have a look for the lols. One sec. Sorry about that. Another little technical problem. Let's quickly see what they got in London to rent. London's a shithole anyway, but it's jokes. Let's just see what they got. Wow, this looks nice, Chef. You could afford this. 5,200 a month. The Boulevard, SW6. What the fuck is this? Hold up. Bro, hold up. Wow, they're charging people 5,200 a month to live here. 5,200 a month. And can you see they've got those pictures of African women up there as well? That's quite interesting. That is bizarre, isn't it? 5,200 for a place that looks like that. I want to find out if it's furnished or not. This place can't be worth 5,200 per calendar month for this. Wait a minute. How many? No. It must be the area. Joe says SW6 means A1 neighborhood, Fulham. Mate, this place ain't worth $5,000 a month. $5,000 a month for this place. It must be the area. $5,000 a month. Would anybody pay $5,000 a month for this place? Not in a million years. The decor's disgusting as well. It's not even good. Horrific. I think it's a three bed flat. No, it's not for me. So yeah, Chevin, no, there's not much going on, Chev. There isn't much going off. Let's have a look here. Right. Your old dad says his name is still Lamar Scott. He runs a boxing promotion that's registered at Company's House under Lamar Scott. There you go. That's fair enough. I thought him and Dean had a civil partnership, but maybe not. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Like I said, I ain't got a big problem with Dean White. Daniel Stone says, "Come Sheffield, that would be a grand." No, thank you. No, thank you. Sheffield isn't really for me. Sheffield isn't really for me. I leave Sheffield to the Ingles. I leave Sheffield to the Ingles and my friend Richard Poxon. Who else is that from Sheffield? And my friend Kid Galahad. That's why I leave Sheffield to. Harvey Chan, did you watch F1 a couple of weeks back? Thoughts? No, I don't watch Formula One because Formula One is not a sport. Period. Formula One is very, very corrupt. And I've been saying that since before even Hamilton got done. Formula One is a corrupt sport. I stopped watching it years ago. Formula One it's not even a sport. And they just make the rules up as they go along. It's not a sport. In sport, right? Should I tell you how you know everyone's a joke of a sport anyway, right? In sport, if Barcelona keep winning the Champions League year after year, do UEFA change the rules so Barcelona stop winning? So that tells you everyone's a joke. I don't know why people watch it. It's a laughing stock. If Barcelona keep winning the Champions League, do they change the rules so that Barcelona stop winning? Or do they just say, look, Barca are the best team, everybody needs to catch up? And they've been doing this in Formula One for years. They've been doing this since Michael Schumacher was winning titles at Ferrari. Then they start changing the rules to slow people down and make it a better show. And Formula One's now become a joke. We're now talking about reverse grids, aren't we? We're now talking about things in Formula One like reverse grids. And we've now got sprint races and stuff like that. It's embarrassing. Formula One is just is a joke compared to how it was back in the day. And people talk about Hamilton and stuff. You can't even compare Formula One now to Formula One back in the day because the rules have changed so much. Well, we didn't have sprint races back in the day. We didn't have sprint races. We didn't have 25 points for a winner. We didn't have back in the day in Formula One, do you know how qualifying used to work? It used to be 60 minutes, you get unlimited laps. Whoever's the fastest guy is the fastest guy. Now, I personally like the qualifying 1, 2, and 3 format better. I think it's much better for the viewers, right? But that's how it was. Back in the day, you really used to see who was the fastest guy. Who was the fastest? You really used to see that, man. Also, what about fueling as well? Have they still banned refueling? F1's a joke. It's unrecognisable to the sport it was 15, 20 years ago. During its prime, by the way. During its prime. Because the prime of Formula One was when it was being shown on terrestrial TV, on BBC and on ITV. That was the prime of Formula One. When we used to see Schumacher, Ayrton Senna, when drivers had personalities. Do you remember that back in the day? When drivers had personalities? Do you remember that? Look, this is what we got these days. Look. This is what we got these guys. Look. We've literally got dudes wearing. Look at this. Look. No joke. This is Formula One. Welcome to Formula One. That's what Formula One is these days. What's this dude wearing? What's this dude wearing? Can somebody tell me how he went from this, yeah? Can somebody tell me how we went from men like this? James Hunt. How did we go from Formula One from men like this, smokers, drinkers, womanizers like James Hunt, yeah? How did we go from that to men like Ayrton Senna, one of the greatest men, one of the greatest sportsmen ever of all time in any sport? How do we go from men like James Hunt, Ayrton Senna, and Niki Lauda to men like this? How did that happen? How did that happen? What's this man wearing? Formula One's a disgrace. Anybody paying to watch that is a disgrace. Can you believe? Can you understand how where we're going? John Charleston says even in his time, James Hunt was a one-off. He was. But look at Ayrton Senna. Look at the personalities we had in Formula One. Ayrton Senna, James Hunt. Even if you look recently, as early as 2000, we had guys like Kimi Räikkönen. We had genuine personalities in the sport. Now we've got this. now in Formula One? Oh my God. Yeah. William Angel says the old videos you showed of the alligators about Hamilton were great. Yeah, well, I'm on the naughty step at the minute, so I can't do the videos anymore. But who remembers them videos I did about the alligators and Lewis Hamilton? This dude's claiming he's one of us, you know? Yeah, okay, bro. This dude claiming he the same as me. Okay, bro. Cool story. He claiming he the same as me. All right, bro. Whatever helps you sleep at night. Look at this dude. Oh my God. This dude claiming he the same as me. Okay, bro. That's cool. But let me tell you something. I grew up in London, yeah? I don't know no people of colour in London who look all dressed like this. I'll tell you that now. I don't know it. I don't know any people of colour in London who look like or dress like this. So spare me that BS, man. Spare me that Hamilton BS. The guy is an absolute clown. The only good thing that Lewis Hamilton did in his career was not wifing Nicole Scherzinger. That's literally the only thing he done in his. Yeah, Joe says, wear that where I live and you're getting lynched, no cap. Oh, listen, I've been around people of colour my whole life in London. I am a person of colour and we never dress like that. I don't know where he's from. Like Shevin says, he claimed he's from the slums. Do you remember I told you? Lewis Hamilton claimed he's from the slums. He said Stevenage was the slums. That's what he claimed. That's what he said. Here you go, BBC. This guy's gone up for Sports Personality of the Year. That's what a phony this guy is. This guy's such a phony. He wants you to believe that Stevenage is a ghetto. That's what he wants you to believe. He said he came from the slums. Look, this is what he said to the presenter. Lewis Hamilton said, it was really a dream for us all as a family to do something different. For us to get out of the slums, as we would say. This man trying to tell people he's from the slums. What the fuck, man? This guy's a clown, bro. Do you know what I mean? Seriously. I'm not from the streets, yeah? But Stevenage, bro, give me a break. I grew up in London my whole life. Don't tell me Stevenage is the fucking slums, man. I grew up in London my whole life. Don't tell me Stevenage is no fucking slums. I don't want to hear that talk. Do you know what I mean? Clown talk, innit? Clown talk. What was it? Mark Stanton says, I used to race karts when Hamilton was a beginner kid. Was a little spoiled shit then. Doesn't surprise me. Let's have a look here. Yeah, exactly, Stephen. Stevenage, yeah, he's from the slums. Stevenage. And dudes give him a pass for this stuff. Dudes give him a pass for this stuff. There can't be a faker thing going, is there? That's like one of the hallmarks, yeah, of a fake person, isn't it? To pretend that you come from a tough neighborhood for clout when you don't. Innit? That there's nothing that says fake more, yeah, than to pretend you come from a tough neighborhood when you don't. To me, that's like that. There's nothing that says phony more than that. To pretend that you grew up in a hood when you did not. Stop aspiring for that. Why is that though? Can I quickly say, why is it that people, and I don't come from the hood, by the way, and I don't come from any slums, but why is it that people who never came from the hood, why is it people who come from good backgrounds aspire to come from bad backgrounds? Why is that? Have you ever noticed that? How people aspire to be from the hood when they were middle class? Stop lying, man. If you're middle class, be proud. If you're lower middle class, be proud. Do you see how I roll? I don't come up with this act. You see how I don't come up with this act, yeah? I tell you straight up, I shop at Waitrose, I shop at M&S. Look at it. So I got hiccups. What's it? So I got hiccups. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't tell people, yo, my name's Ultra. I come from the hood, you get me? I come from like South London. Like, I don't tell people that I come from Hackney. You feel me? Which is a legit area. Like Hackney is legit. You feel me? But I don't tell you, oh, I'm from Hackney, I'm from East London, I'm from South London. Like, I'm a bad man. I used to do all this stuff. Like, listen, I just tell people how it is. I tell people, nah, I'm middle class. That's why I shop at M&S. I'm middle class. I had a bad childhood, but I'm middle class. So why do these people, it's like they want to wish themselves into poverty, innit? Because they think it's fashionable, innit? Nah. I ain't feeling that. Somebody asked another question. I'm not going to talk about cricket right now. Talk about cricket another time. But England are a joke. Simple as that. And I enjoy watching them get beat. Like, I don't, I support England, yeah, when it comes to world wars, obviously. But when it comes to sport, I ain't rocking no England flag. That's me. I don't care what anybody says. If people disagree with that, that's fine. But I am not doing it. I'm not rocking with no England flag. Straight up. I'm from. You know what I mean? I'm English and proud to a degree, but I'm West Indies first and foremost. Do you know what I mean? So I'm not going to be rocking no England flag because I ain't no BNP member. But at the same time, if English people want to rock the English flag, then they should be allowed to. You feel me? I don't get upset at other people. So when I see England flags out during World Cup, fine. If you're English, get the English flag out. It's your country. Get the flag out. But I won't do that because my heritage is West Indies. My heritage is not England, but I'm English. Here we go. Let's have a look. We'll finish up soon, guys. Sorry, I really apologise for the disaster of a stream today, but you know we're doing our best. If anybody's got any other random questions, I'm surprised I haven't got any dodgy questions actually, which is good. I was going to get loads of really dodgy questions. Yeah, Daniel Stone's right. Basically, rap music is the reason. Yeah, because people think it's cool to be poor. Listen, the guys that are in the hood, a lot of them are trying to get out of the hood. Do you feel me? The guys that are in the hood are trying to get out of the hood, but it's the only guys trying to get in the hood are middle class dudes. only dudes trying to get out, trying to get in the hood. Middle class dudes trying to get in the hood. Hood niggas trying to get out the hood. Make that make sense for me. Make that make sense for me. Sunny Singh says, it's like trying to blag you grew up in Birmingham, but we're from Solihull. Nobody from the street is wearing a dress. End of story. I've got to be careful what I say, but end of story. Has anybody got any Christmas food recommendations? Let's have a look at Iceland. But the thing is, mind your business. Let me tell you something quickly, mind your business, right? Mind your business says all poor people should still get their milk, bread, veg, beans from M&S Trust. Listen, let me tell you something. I'm poor. That's what people don't understand. Like, I am poor. I am poor. I do not have a lot of money at all. I am poor. I'm only a couple of paychecks away from the street corner. Do you feel me? I'm only a couple of paychecks away from the street corner. But the thing is this, right? What people don't understand, yeah, about Troy Williamson cracking me up. I'll show you in a minute. What people don't understand, yeah, is that people make bad choices. Let me show you about bad choices, right? Shopping in M&S and Waitrose is not expensive. Paying £3.50 for a fucking whatever it is in M&S or Waitrose, M&S and Waitrose is not expensive. Expensive is Harrods. Expensive is Fortnum and Mason. That stuff is actually fucking expensive. Shopping at Waitrose is not expensive. But this is where the problem goes. A lot of people in certain communities spend a lot of money on this. You see this? Bad habits. Standing in the queue to do tickets for the lottery. Do you feel me? Standing in the queue doing tickets for the lottery, but then they're claiming that they can't shop in M&S. Now make that make sense for me. Make that make sense. Standing in the queue to do the national lottery, but you claim that you can't. You claim that you can't afford to shop in M&S. But I saw one guy one time go in a co-op, yeah, and literally spend £100 on scratch cards. £100 on scratch cards, but you claim you can't shop in M&S because it's too expensive. And I'm a snob for shopping in M&S, but you're whacking out £100, £50, you're whacking out £20 a week on fucking scratch cards. Make that make sense. Let's work this out. Look. You can't. You say I'm a snob and that you can't shop at Waitrose, right? You can't shop at Waitrose because you can't afford it, but you have a 70-inch TV in your house. Make that make sense. Am I lying? Am I lying? Oh, well, Ultra, you're a snob. He shops at Waitrose. I'd say they got a bigger TV than me. I don't even have a TV, but they got a bigger TV than I do. 70-inch TV, wall mounted. Wall mounted, 70-inch TV. And they're telling you they can't afford to spend a little bit of extra money on Waitrose and M&S. They spend £150 on a pair of these. £150 or £130 a touch on a pair of these. But the same people will tell you that they can't afford to shop in M&S. £150 on a pair of shoes, but they'll tell you they can't afford to shop in M&S. It's about choices, isn't it? It's about choices, really. It's not about rich and poor. It's actually about choices. It's about choices. William Angel says, I think part of the problem is that schools and unis don't teach people the importance of balancing the budget. Well, of course they don't. No. Think about that, right? You can literally get a degree in Harry Potter studies. I'm trying to find it, but you can. There you go. Durham University. You can go to Durham University. Let me just get this up here. You can go to Durham University and you can do a course in Harry Potter. Do you understand? You can do a course in Harry Potter at Durham University. But these same people don't know how to budget or don't know how to manage money, don't know how to save money. I don't know how to invest money. I'm going to have to teach myself how to invest and what to invest in. But I'm going to try and do that once I've got some more savings. Do you understand what I'm saying, though? And people wonder why. I'll tell you something that we'll talk about very, very quickly, because we've only got 57 people here. So I think we might be able to get away with talking about this very, very quickly. Give me a yes or a no if you disagree with this. Hold on, let me get a poll going. I think I can get away with this. One sec. One sec. Oh my God. My keyboard's fucking up. I'm near there. The number one cause of poverty. There's the poll. I'm just going to get some food, yeah? Do me a favor, fill that poll out and let me know what you think. The number one cause of poverty is having children you can't afford. Yes or no? Vote now, let me know. Be back. Look at that. Look at the poll. 18 votes so far. That's the number one cause of poverty. People having children they can't afford. I'm telling you the truth. Hold on. Here we go. The cost of raising a child for a couple in the UK is 151,000, right? 151,000 to raise a child up to the age of 18 as a couple. If you're a single parent, it's 185,000. When people have kids, when people have kids, do they look at it as an investment? Or is it an emotional decision? Does anybody look at it and say, no, Ifany, I think you're actually right, by the way. The numbers vary, so I think you're right. I actually thought it was 200,000 as well. So let's see. I think the numbers vary, but it's up to you. But listen, if people disagree with me, just tell me why you disagree in the chat, and I'll read it out. I don't mind. It's not like I don't hate kids or anything, but what I'm saying is, people don't look at having kids as an investment or as a big financial decision. They have kids on emotion, right? Don't they? Am I right or am I wrong about that? They have children based on emotion. Do people often think, do I have £160,000 to raise this child till 18? Am I going to be able to make £160,000 in the next X amount of years to raise this child? I don't think they do. My parents didn't. And that's the reason why my childhood was so shit. That's my opinion. You know what I mean? Cost of raising a child is absolutely huge. I'm getting a bit in this shit. Hold on. But we're encouraged not to think about this, aren't we? Do you not think? Do you not think it's funny that we're encouraged not to think about this? Like, people see it as a bad thing. People see it as a negative thing to try and assess how much money you actually have before you have a child. Throw that in it. They see it, that's a bad thing according to people. Because you should just have kids, right? No matter what the situation is. It's your right to have kids. That's what they tell people, right? It's your right. Just have kids. Regardless. Regardless of how much money you've got. See, personally for me, right, this is my opinion, right? I would like to, if I was to, I'm not really all for having kids, right? But what I would do is think, what could I give my kids a great life? If the answer is no, then what's the point in having them? Does that make sense? Could I give my kids a great life? Do you know what? I'm going to go through your questions in a minute. I can see there's a few comments on this, and I will go through all your comments in a sec here. But can I just say, do you know what really annoys me as well? And this happened to me when I was a child. You go to the supermarket, right? Or you go in a toy store, you go wherever, right? And children want things, don't they? They want things, right? They want things. Like they want a packet of sweets, or they want a pair of toy or something. And you see these parents just screaming at their kids. No, we can't have that. No, you can't have that. You can't have that chocolate. You can't have that packet of sweets. No, you can't have that toy. Come on, we. Sometimes they'll even say stuff like, no, we can't afford it. You can't have that. You can't have this. You can't have that. And it's like, I never understood that, you know. It's like, I understand, like, you don't want your kids to be sort of spoiled and stuff. But when you're in a supermarket, shouting at your children over a 65p pack of fruit pastels, screaming at your child, telling kids that you can't have it, what's the point in having kids? Do you know what I mean? It's like, if I had a child, yeah, and my child said to me, Dad, can I have this packet of sweets? I would just say, yeah, put it in the fucking trolley. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, if I walked into a video game store, right? If I bought my son a PlayStation for Christmas, and he walked into a video game store, and he said, Dad, can I have Street Fighter 2? I would say, Yeah, it's only 50 quid. What's the problem? Take it. Do you know how many times I've seen in here like, no, you can't have that. We can't afford that. Yeah, you can't have that. No, no. It just seems like these parents are just like saying no for the sake of saying no. It's like, well, do you know what I mean? If you're going to shout and scream at your kids, if you're going to start shouting and screaming at your kids and making a big hullabaloo because you can't afford 30 quid, I don't know. That's controversial, isn't it? But it's true though, isn't it? Why do we do that? Why do we do that? Why do we do that? Weird, isn't it? I think the reason why a lot of people have children is because they want something to control. That's the real reason why a lot of people have children, in my opinion. I think a lot of people have children because they want something to control. They don't have much control in their life. They don't have much control over their life. And so they like to have something. It's the same reason why people have pets. They like something to control. They like control. They like something that they can say yes and no to. They like being a decision maker. They like the feeling of importance. I honestly think that's a lot of it, you know. That's a lot of why people have kids. They like saying no. They like the feeling of being in charge. They haven't been in control the whole life. Yeah, I was just about to bring that up, Shevin, the vegan pet owners. I was just about to bring that up. Do you know what I mean? I'll bring it up in a sec. I agree with this, Crazy D3. Having kids is a second chance at life. Little people that they'll live vicariously. I agree with a lot of that. A lot of the reasons why people, I think, really have kids is a bit, you know, why are they having kids for? You know, I'll tell you now, my parents should have had a fucking abortion. And all the Matchroom fans will agree with you on that. But that's the truth. My parents should never have had me. They should have had a fucking abortion. Period. Period. My parents should have had an abortion. They shouldn't have had me. I agree with this, but I've got to be careful what I say. Joe says, yeah, like Crazy D3 says, I think people have kids because it's essentially the easiest substitute for actually achieving stuff themselves. Well, we'll see. Some, not all. But yeah. I don't know, man. Sorry about the graphics. The graphics are pretty shit, but let's have a look. Just looking at the cost of having fucking children. It's incredible. Let's have a look. I agree with this, Daniel. Daniel says you need to teach your kids delayed gratification. No, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. But you know what? Honestly, I think a lot of that stuff's a little bit overrated, you know? Like, to be honest, right? To me, this is how I would do it, and I could be wrong. It's like, let me ask you one more question then, right? About control. Bedtime. What is it with bedtime? My brother-in-law's wife puts her kids to bed at 7 o'clock, right? And she absolutely uses these kids as a weapon. We'll talk about that another time. But she absolutely uses her children as a weapon against my mother and father-in-law. Okay, so they had a big falling out. But my brother-in-law's wife uses their kids. They use their kids as weapons, right, against my parents-in-law, right? But she forced her kids to go to bed at like 6, 7 o'clock on something, right? Now these are young children. Now, can somebody explain to me the logic behind this? What is the logic behind bedtime? What is the logic about that? What is that? What is the logic about that? I understand people need a routine, yeah? But what is this obsession about going to bed at 6, 7, 8 o'clock? Like, what would happen if they were up at 10 o'clock? What would happen? What would happen? What would happen that was so bad? Like, I'm not really articulating myself very well, but you've got parents that are very, very stringent about things like bedtime, right? They're very, very stringent about when they send their kids to bed and bedtime. But they can't really provide for it. Oh, I've got to be careful what I say. Oh, look, I will be careful what I say here, but let me go to some comments. Right, Daniel Stone says, if you don't learn to go to bed at the same time every night, it messes you up. One of the first thing a therapist will ask you if you have depression. Listen, I agree. Look, we all need a bit of routine, yeah? Right? We all need a bit of routine. But I don't know, like, I'm not convinced about that. These are questions that I ask myself. Why? I'm not convinced about. Yeah, you need a bit of routine, but why early? This is what I agree with what Shevin says. Long as anyone gets 7-8 hours of sleep if they're fine. Let me ask you a question, genuine question, right? I just think it's a little bit disproportionate. That's my opinion. The way parents are obsessed with. Do you know what I think happens, right? This is what I think happens. I think most parents, this is what I think, right? I think most parents don't know how to actually parent, right? And I think what they do is, they have these little rules from the parent handbook, which they've seen on TV, they've seen over the years, and they think stuff like, well, if I have a child and I stop him from eating sweets and I force him to go to bed every night at 5 o'clock in the afternoon or 6 o'clock, I'm a good parent. That's what they think. What would happen if your kid went to bed at 10 o'clock? What would be the problem in that? What would happen? What do you guys think about that? Do you think I'm wrong? Listen, let me tell you, if I had a kid, right, which I wouldn't, but hopefully I don't, but if I had a child, right, it's 6:30 now in the UK, right? It's 6:30, right? As long as my child has done his homework, as long as my child has done his work, as long as my child's done anything, right, as long as he's done what he needs to do, if he says, Dad, I want to play video games, play video games. If he's playing video games 8 o'clock, 8:30, 9 o'clock, I don't care. At some point, yeah, he's gonna have to switch them off. But if he wants to sit on his console, if he's put his work in, if he's done his hard work, if he's done his studies, and he's got his good grades and he's done whatever, and he's put effort in, then his time is his time. I'm not gonna force him to go to bed at fucking 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the afternoon at some arbitrary time just because it makes me look like a decent parent. I'm not gonna do that. I'm just not going to do that. If he wants to sit up and play games, he can play games. That's what I never understood. Like, what's wrong with that? And then he's ready to go to bed. He's ready to go to bed. Do you know what I think? Should I tell you something that's very controversial? Should I tell you something that's very, very controversial? I actually believe, I know what you guys are saying, and I understand why you guys think I'm wrong. And I probably am wrong, right? And you guys have kids. But shall I tell you what happened to me? Listen to this now. And this is the best way I can get my point across, right? Listen to this. Do you know when I went to university, right? I hardly did any drugs. Do you know that? Hardly did any drugs. Hardly got into any trouble. Do you know that? Do you know why that was? Do you know why that was? The reason why that was is because one of my parents in particular didn't give a shit. I had a lot of freedom. So what happened was, because I didn't live a sheltered life, let me give you an example. When I moved into university, when I moved into halls, right, people were going nuts. I remember moving into halls for the first time in university, and women were running around getting pissed. First night, women were running around getting pissed. Guys were coming over. People were running around, knocking on people's doors and acting like lunatics. That's a dangerous situation, because when you shield people so much, and they get out into the big wide world, they don't know how to live life. Because you get a bunch of people that have been mollycoddled their whole fucking life. You get a bunch of people that have been mollycoddled their whole fucking career, their whole life. And when they get out into the big wide world and they get a bit of freedom, they go absolutely bananas. You know? The amount of women I saw at uni getting drunk, getting pissed, getting in very, very dangerous situations. Very dangerous situations. Do you know what happens? Because you know why? Because the parents shelter them so much. They're at home, bed at 7, bed at 6. Don't do this, don't do that. And do you know what happens? When they go into the big wide world and they get freedom, they go nuts. They don't know how to handle it. Do you know when I went out into the big wide world, do you know what happened to me? Never did drugs. Never did any of that. Do you know why I never did any of that? Because I could. That's why I never did it. That's why I don't do drugs to this day. Do you know what? Because I could. I could. Because at the age of 12 and 13, right, I could walk out the front door. No problem. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, I could walk out the door. In the middle of the night, in London, no problem. Mate, let me tell you, trust me on this. 2 in the morning at the age of 14, 15, yeah? 2 in the morning, bro. If I said, look, I'm hungry, I'm getting a kebab, I'll walk out the door, 2:30 in the morning, no problem. Go and get a kebab. If I say I want to go out at night and fancy a walk, I used to go out for walks all the time at night. 3 or 4 in the morning, I used to put my headphones on, stick music in, and go for a walk around London. You know what I used to do as well sometimes when I was stressed? I even went into central London by myself or with a friend, headphones on. We used to walk the streets of Soho, 14, 50 years old, 1 and 2 a.m. in the morning. No problem. Soho, Leicester Square, all those places. We used to just walk around. We used to see crazy shit. You see grown women, yeah, on the floor puking their guts out from a night out. I used to see grown women crawling on the floor outside kebab shops and vomiting everywhere because they were pissed out of their minds. 14, 15, 16 years old. My point is, when you get the freedom to do something, you become less rebellious. That's my point. And that's what I think the reason why is when I got older, I smoked like a couple of joints every now and again, but never really did weed. Never was a drinker. Never any of that. Never went crazy because I didn't live a sheltered life, you know. I had those opportunities. So I'm a big believer in that, you know. I'm not saying let your kids go out and go crazy, but I'm saying, look, if they're getting their schoolwork done, what's the problem? What's the issue? You know, somebody made a comment here about getting up at school. Joe said, mine don't have a set bedtime. We tell them not to be up too late, but it can be a nightmare getting them up for school. Mate, listen, it's very simple for me. And again, you guys can disagree. Here's me, right? Here's my one. If you want to go to bed late, go to bed late. As long as you don't watch any dodgy stuff, right? Go to bed late. But you will be waking up in the morning for school, whether you like it or not. Simple as that's my only rule. So I'll say to my child, if you want to go to bed at fucking midnight, you can go to bed at midnight. As long as you know that when 7:30, 8 o'clock comes, you are getting up. So whether you're tired or not, you are getting up. And maybe they won't get it. Maybe they'll stay up the first couple of times till 2, 3, 4 a.m. in the morning. And you wake them up and they'll go into school and they'll be dead. But you know what? After a while, after 2 or 3 times, they'll get it. And you know what I think will happen? The kid will start saying, do you know what, Ultra, I'm going to bed. It's too late for me. Because they don't feel that pressure. They're not being, do you make sense? What do you guys think? Do you think I'm crazy? That's how I lived. There's nothing to rebel against. And what you actually end up with is with a child who says, do you know what, I'm tired, I'm going to bed. See you later. They start doing it of their own accord because there's nothing to rebel against. They don't feel like, oh, blah, 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 blah. And I think that helps. When they get older and they start going to university and they start going out into the big bad world, I think that kind of stuff helps. It helps. Because they learn to be responsible for themselves rather than being mollycoddled. So let me read these comments out. Parents want alone time. If you want alone time, don't have kids. I want alone time with my wife. That's why I'm not having children. Period. That's why I'm not having children, because I want alone time. Once you have kids, you don't get alone time when you have kids, do you really? I mean, it just changes your life. Let's go through here. Joe says, I agree with that. By contrast, I had a very shielded childhood and wasting a whole year of my life on weed, ketamine, and occasionally coke. I guarantee you, Joe, if you'd have lived under my system, yeah, you wouldn't have been on that. Because you wouldn't have needed to. Because there would be nothing to there'd be nothing to experience, if that makes sense. There'd be nothing to experience. You wouldn't have seen it as a big deal. You would have seen all these kids who got a bit of freedom and you looked at them and said, well, who cares? Who cares? I don't know if I made my point quite clearly there. Shevin says, they copy the parent handbook 100%. My best friend is a successful federal prosecutor. Never been in trouble. Played all violent games ever. His parents didn't have any weird rules. So just tell me, so what time is bedtime then? Tell me, what time is bedtime? What time is bedtime for kids then? Because like I said, my brother-in-law's wife, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, 6 o'clock in the afternoon, she's taking these kids off to bed. So what time is bedtime then? What time is it? Tell me. Let me know. I don't get it. Maybe, like I said, I'm not a great parent, obviously, but I don't get it. Let's go through some of these comments. GB Guthrie says 7 p.m. is too far. Seems like they don't want to deal with the kids anymore. And well, listen, the ironic thing is, she uses the kids as a weapon. She uses them children as a weapon. where she doesn't get what she wants from my parents-in-law, she stops them from seeing her children. Ironically. And I think, like I said, control is a lot of it. That's what she does. When she doesn't get what she wants, she stops my parents-in-law from seeing those children. And how many times have we heard that before with relationships, when certain people aren't allowed to see their children anymore? When one party basically says, "Oh, you can't see your kids because you split up with me," or something like that. Do you know what I mean? How many times have we seen this stuff happen before, where people use their children against the other person? I think a lot of people see it as a control tool. They see it as a bargaining chip. That's my opinion on that. I haven't really articulated myself very well. Corrupt Boxing says, biggest flex, I'm 16, never smoked, never drinked, I'm at college, everybody smokes, vapes, coke, etc. Corrupt Boxing, can I ask you a question? You know, you say you're 16 and you never smoked or drinked. Were your parents overly strict? Did your parents force you to go to bed at a certain time, or what was it like? Were your parents like overly pushy? Did you live a sheltered life? I tell you this now. For me, when I got to a certain age, there was no rules. I used to go wherever, whenever, no problem. I'll go anywhere I want, and that's not a good thing. But because I could go anywhere I want, I think it helped later on in life. Mind Your Business says, I did this though, Ultra. Got used to late nights, slept through school. You need a little input to counteract the pitfalls. I probably agree with you. I probably got the balance wrong. I'm probably wrong on this. You're probably right. Maybe I've got the balance wrong. But yeah, anyway, getting back to it. I'll go for a few more minutes, but the cost of raising a child is massive. Let me ask you one more question. Cost of having a child, yeah? What about the cost on your relationship? What about that? What about the cost on your relationship? Think about this, right? Think about this. What kind of independent person wants to spend the next 18 to 21 years of their life being held hostage by a child? Is that a fair comment or not a fair comment? Do you think there's a bit in that? Like, listen, let me tell you something that I believe, right? Here, I'll tell you what, I'll end this poll and I'll give you one more poll because I love these polls. Here, one more poll. Let me see if I can get this poll going. Hold on, here we go. Come on. Right, here we go. Here we go. Here's the question. Can't believe we still got 58 people in here, but I'm asking it. Right, here is the poll. I think. I can't see it, but I think it's hopefully arriving soon. Okay, here's the poll. Answer this. If you think I'm right or wrong. And then we'll end on this. Get this up. Having children is one of the biggest reasons relationships or marriages collapse. I think it is. I think low-key having children is one of the biggest reasons why relationships and or marriages collapse. I think it's one of the biggest reasons. That's what I think. I think one of the biggest threats to your marriage or one of the biggest threats to your relationship is having children. And people will sound crazy on that. People sound crazy on that, but that's what I believe. Shall I tell you why I believe that? First and foremost, think of all the financial stress that having a child puts on a relationship. Think of it. All of a sudden now, you've got to come up with £185,000 over the next 18 fucking years. So let's round it up. All of a sudden, you're in a marriage. You've had a child. You've now got to come up with 200 grand in the next fucking 18 years to support this child. That's if you have one child. Many people have two children in quick succession. So I believe that having children adds a huge financial strain. But think about the strain on time. Let me ask you this. You know when you meet somebody, you meet a partner, right? And they're able to go to the gym and they're able to have hobbies. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're able to go to the gym, they're able to have hobbies, they're able to do all these things. All of a sudden, they have children. Guess what? Can't go to the gym as much anymore, don't have time to do their hobbies anymore. Let's be honest. How many people do you know that have children, but they aren't actually living? They're not living for themselves. They're just living to be parents. Like, they don't have any time to themselves. They don't have any time to study. They don't have any time to read a book. They don't have any time to go on a holiday by themselves. They don't even have any time to do anything. Their whole life is centered around having children. Their whole life is centered around being a parent. I know a lot of females in particular say they want to have children, right? Because that's how we're programmed by society, aren't we? We're programmed by society that it's the right thing to do, right? It's the right thing to have children. That's how we're programmed, right? But do you think that a lot of people really enjoy the loss of freedom? What do you think about that? I think it's a massive strain on relationships. Massive, huge strain on relationships. Huge strain. Mark Stanton said no, but would say it's because of sleeping around or cheating. Yeah, but Mark, what are the main reasons that relationships break up? We know statistically, yeah, the number one reason for divorce is money problems. And number two is infidelity. But what I'm saying is, I think having children compounds that. That's what I think. Having children compounds that. I think it compounds that. It makes your financial situation a lot worse, which puts your marriage at strain, which causes women or causes your partner to start looking somewhere else, in my opinion. Because listen, let me tell you something, right? No matter what, I believe that, I've got to be careful what I say, but listen, being a stay-at-home parent is not for everybody. I don't really think it is, but it's not for everybody. It can be a very, very lonely, boring life. Very, very boring life. Very, very quickly. Listen, think about it. Think about the person that your partner was before children. And then say to them, by the way, that gym you went to anymore, you can't do that anymore. Those holidays you went on by yourself, you can't do that anymore. And also it's the pressure, isn't it? Because then you're stuck with somebody, innit? You're stuck with somebody. You feel like you can't walk away. You feel you're trapped. You feel like you're kind of trapped for the next 18 years. It has a big effect on people. It has a big effect on people. I think, that's my opinion, I think it's one of the biggest threats to a relationship is actually having kids. I'm not saying people shouldn't have kids, but I'm saying it's a massive threat to the relationship. Because here you go, because people lose their independence, don't they? They lose their independence, don't they? They stop being like who they were. How many people do you know? How many dads do you know that all of a sudden they have kids, they lose shape? Am I right? Yes or no? How many times have we seen it, yeah? Where we've seen a guy, a good-looking guy, out and about, this, that, blah, 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 very successful with the ladies, in great shape, blah, blah, blah. How many times have we seen it where he has children and all of a sudden he gets a dad bod, he loses his shape, he loses his edge, stops chasing excellence? What do you think? Yes or no? Is there any truth in that? Let's have a look at this. Some of these comments. Sunny Singh says, plus as a man, if you pick the wrong woman, you'll pay financially and emotionally. You'll be finished. Your career's over. Your career's over. You'll be paying child support for the rest of your for the next 20 years. The charity I help at, we get fathers all the time who are being attacked through their children. Heartbreaking stuff. Well, there you go. Not reason, but Mind Your Business says it's not the reason, but it's the final nail. I think having kids literally can single-handedly destroy relationships, because I think it traps people and it takes away people's sense of freedom and it makes people feel claustrophobic. I think people feel, look, I can't get out of this. I can't get out. I'm stuck for the next 18, 20 years with this. I think it brings on a lot of emotions, I think, like, as a society, we are conditioned to have kids. We're conditioned that having kids is the right thing to do. But I think most people can't handle it. And most people don't really think about these kind of things. Do you know how many people do you know that think about this stuff before they have kids? They don't think about that. That's the problem, isn't it? They don't think about this kind of stuff, do they? They don't think, right? Let's have a look at this article. When people marry, they're usually in love and happy to be tying the knot, but after that, things tend to change. On average, couples' satisfaction with their marriage declines during the first years of marriage. For around 30 years, researchers have studied how having children affects a marriage, and the results are conclusive. The relationship between spouses suffers once kids come along. Comparing couples with and without children, researchers found that the rate of decline in relationship satisfaction is nearly twice as steep for couples that have children than for childless couples. That's taboo, isn't it? It's quite taboo to say that in society, isn't it? Do you think? It's quite taboo, isn't it? That's quite taboo, isn't it? Duncan Harrod said, I've built a soundproof gym in the garage. Was needed for sure. I could only go to the gym once a week in the end. There you go. Yeah, Mark Stanton, there you go. Having to work more to it's put stress on it. So I don't know what you guys think. There you go. I'm gonna stop ranting at you. But yeah, me personally, I'll tell you that. Me personally, if anybody's got any final questions, answer them now or forever hold your peace. If anybody's got any final questions, ask them now or forever hold your peace. But yeah, for me, that's the reason why I've opted at this minute in time. I personally don't want to have kids. Now, other people are much better parents than me. And some people genuinely, maybe people come from big families or stuff like that. Some people are just really good at it. I don't know. But it's just not for me, It's not for me because I like my freedom. And most importantly, my other half likes her freedom, My other half really likes her freedom. And I don't want to pin a kid on her, I don't want to pin a kid on her and end her career. Why would I want to do that? She earns good money. Why would I want to pin a kid on her and end her career? I don't want to do that. I want her to continue to work and earn money and keep getting promoted and do well. I don't want to pin a kid on her and end her career and leave her as a stay-at-home mum. I don't want to do that to her. And she doesn't want to be a stay-at-home mum either. That's me. You got to think about the career aspect as well, innit? It can literally end your career. I don't know. Shevin says people that want a kid should try pet first and see how that goes. Well, it is what it is, isn't it? It is what it is. Onion Bag says, I know plenty of guys who like their kids more than their lady. Well, that happens quite a lot in relationships, don't they? They stop paying attention to their partner and they pay attention to pay attention to their kids, and then a relationship that's not healthy, is it? That's not healthy, is it? When your relationship exists and it's just around the kids. But then, trust me when I say this. This is why the divorce rates are so high. In closing, this is what I'll say in closing, right? People have tried this a million times. People have tried this whole marriage and kids thing, right? For fucking how many years now? Years. What's the divorce rate in the UK? Oh, it's not bad actually. It's not bad at all. I thought it's 50%. It's about 33% apparently. 1/3 of marriages have ended in divorce. That's not as bad as I thought then. So maybe there, but the odds aren't good. I don't know what you think. Mark Stanton says, don't regret the decision not to have kids or marriage. All the mates from growing up are miserable. That's when they are allowed out. Yeah, I mean, maybe I'm being a bit biased. I am biased towards it. But it's for me, like I said, Mark, I don't know, man. I don't know. It is miserable. A lot of it is miserable. It is miserable. I don't want to be in a situation where it's like, oh, Ultra, you can't go to the gym because of this, or Ultra, you can't do that because of this. I don't know. I see a lot of married people. I do question sometimes how happy they are, but like I said before, I think a lot of it's brainwashing. People think that's the only option. You know, go to uni, get in debt, get married, have kids. Isn't it? That's kind of what we're taught, isn't it? Go to uni, get in debt, get married, have kids, spend the rest of our life paying off our debts. I don't know. I'm not convinced about it. Anyway, listen, I've yapped on about bullshit for ages, but do you know what it is? I can't be asked to talk about the same old Dillian White crap time and time again. I can't be bothered to talk about that stuff. So look at it is, we had a little chat between friends. Riku will be back soon. Riku's in Finland having Christmas. But he'll be back soon. Riku's going to be doing a show from Finland. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we can get Riku in here next week. And hopefully, like I said, we've got Christmas next week. I need to speak to Shevin because I believe we're going to be live on Christmas Day. Hopefully. If we're still on YouTube on Christmas Day, then we'll go live on Christmas Day. And we'll have a bit of a Christmas chat. Why not? Why not have a bit of a Christmas chat? But yeah, that's very controversial. What I'm saying is quite taboo, isn't it? But I feel like a horrible person for saying it. But what can you say, mate? It is what it is. Peace out.